Hey, I'm Natalie.
And I'm Max.
And we're cruising Israel for ILTV. From the tastiest dishes to the craziest locations, we're taking you to the hottest places Israel has to offer. So, Max, if you were an animal, where would you want to live in Israel?
Holy smokes, again with these questions.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather climb 100 more rocks than deal with these.
Okay, fine, so you don't have to answer it. But we're headed to Israel's biggest safari.
Oh, cool.
Let's go. For those of you who want to have the real African safari experience, you don't even have to leave the Tel Aviv area. Join a tour or explore on your own as the animals roam around the park freely.
I'm Sophie. I've been working here for 3 years. I started in the Israeli Wildlife Hospital and then continued as a keeper in the safari. I have a huge passion for animals and I want to help them. And the Israeli Wildlife Hospital here, I did national service.
What kind of animals could we expect to see today?
Well, now we're in the open area, so we have zebras and gnus and canot, and we have rhinos as well. We also have hippos and lots of different types of birds.
So what's going on with this rhino here behind us?
This is Tanda. She's one of the female rhinos here. She had just had a baby a few days ago, so she's in an enclosed area by herself so that they can have time together to bond. She's now breastfeeding him, that's why she's so far away. We knew Tanda was going to have a baby because she started to make sure her 2-year-old daughter kept away from her. She pushed her away, tried to keep her far away. And so they put Tanda away in this enclosed area so she could have her privacy, and that's how they knew she was going to give birth. They can't have 2 babies with them at the same time.
Since Tanda's arrival to the park, this marks the 4th time a calf has been born into the rhinoceros family here at the Ramat Safari.
Now we're going to go into the zoo and we'll feed the giraffes and the lemur monkeys and find out some more stuff about them.
The safari is home to over 1,600 mixed species of animals from all over the world. So tell us a little bit about these giraffes over here. I see that they're very hungry.
Yeah. So now we're with the giraffes. He's being a bit greedy and eating all the leaves that we have. There are 4 giraffes here in the safari. In this bit we have an extra 2 of a different species. In the open area. They are a major attraction here because during all the tours, with the tour guide of course, you get to feed them.
How do the animals cope with the heat, the summer heat?
We have lots of different ways of helping the animals cope with the heat here. We also turn on the sprinklers and they have lots of water in their enclosures. Some of the enclosures have pools in. Another way we deal with them is we make them ice lollies. For the predators we have blood ice lollies and for the vegetarians fruit ice lollies.
Tell us about the blood ice lollies. What is that exactly?
That's for the predators. Like I said, you get a bucket, fill it with water, put some red meat in there or some of the blood that has come out of the other meat and freeze it. Afterwards you make sure it comes out of the bucket, and the lions and the tigers and the leopards, they absolutely love it. Also the wolves get some occasionally. And it really helps, and you can see them for hours just licking this huge block of red ice lolly.
Sounds delicious. Tell us about these little animals, these little furry friends.
These are ring-tailed lemurs from the movie Madagascar that we know them. King Julian, for those who like it. They're very furry. They're from the monkey family. It's a special treat for us to come and feed them, and they're friendly animals. They don't really like being petted, but they like getting their treats. We have raisins that they love, and that's why they come up to us and try to take them. There are 2 other lemur species here. We have 3 in total. We have the ring-tailed and the 2 others.
With the Israeli Wildlife Hospital located here in the safari, they provide treatment to wild animals all over the country. We're here in the Israeli Wildlife Hospital. Can you tell us what kind of animals come here?
The Israeli Wildlife Hospital treats around 4,000 animals a year that come from all over Israel. Rangers or civilians that find an injured wildlife can bring the animal to here. The goal is to treat and rehabilitate and release back to nature. We get all sorts of songbirds and raptors and even vultures and all sorts of mammals such as small hedgehogs up to the biggest Israeli gazelles. We also treat turtles. So, like I said, there's a huge range of animals that people find on the streets or have been run over or by mistake flown into a high cable line.
So this is the place to bring these injured animals?
This is also the clinic for the safari animals. The animals, we aim to treat them in their own enclosures because then they're more relaxed if they are injured. Sometimes the animals are brought into the clinic for treatment, and here we have the safari vets.
Are there events that go on in the safari?
In the safari there are events all the time, all year round.
What kind of events?
There's lots of tours, lots of people hire the safari for their own events, such as going back to school or just a big bank that wants to treat their workers. There's also weddings here or parties, and there's always tours that go on with different aspects of the safari and different animals, different timings and different areas of the world.
Well, thanks so much for showing us around the safari. We had a great time.
You're welcome.
So, Natalie, are we done jeopardizing, the equipment, our own personal safety for today?
When have I ever jeopardized your safety? Don't worry, Max.
You telling me not to worry gets me very worried.
You like driving, don't you?
It's all right.
So I've arranged a special vehicle for us today, which will tour us around the city of Tel Aviv.
Okay, but that's a little vague. What is this vehicle?
It's a Segway.
Oh, well, now I'm very excited. So let's go check it out.
Let's go to the beach. Another fun activity to do on the famous Tel Aviv Boardwalk. Ride down in style from the Tel Aviv port all the way down to Jaffa. With the beach on one side and the non-stop city in the other, segwaying down the boardwalk is an exciting way to cruise around in the vibrant city.
We're located here on the Tel Aviv Boardwalk, so we basically work here for around 3 or 4 years now. And that's what we do. We take people, we give them the time of their life. The tour themselves is around 1 to 2 hours, right? And very simple, we start with practicing, and all the tours themselves go on the boardwalk. And we stop from time to time in the shade, explaining a couple of interesting stuff, facts, and so on. Some of them about the Tel Aviv buildings, let's say the Opera Tower, for example, right? Which was the first place the Knesset sat in, which is nice. We continue with another explanation about the sea, about some of the buildings themselves on the tour.
What kind of people do you get coming on your tours?
All of them. Because of the Segway limits is 6, you have to be older than 16 or not pregnant, in that case. So all of them. We have kids coming on like Sweet 16 parties, we have bachelor's party, we have people coming with the family on birthday and stuff. So you see all of Israel, plus you see plenty of tourists.
The self-balancing vehicle is easy to operate and gives visitors the ability to see the entire boardwalk without moving their feet.
The cool thing about the Segway is how easy it is to actually understand and drive it, like from clueless to not a professional but good to go. So you actually stand on it, you balance yourself, which is pretty easy. And then the control, the back and forth is by the body movement. I mean, you want to drive forward, you just gotta lean forward. Exactly. If you want to stop, you're gonna lean backwards. And if you continue leaning backwards, you're gonna start driving backwards. Now, unlike bicycles, for example, when you just rotate it, it's very simple here. You just pull it on each side, you can go all the way in a circle. The tourists that come here, what are their favorite places to pass by? Is it Yaffo when you go all the way there, or when you go to the north? So for tourists, I know it's mostly Jaffa, because when you come to a new place, you want to see like the old places and the history of it and all the battles that were there. It's mostly Jaffa, although I have some groups, like organized tourist groups, that actually want to start from the Yarkon area, like to start from the port and then ride along the river. How many people partake on these tours? We start with a minimum of 2, a couple, right? And it can go all the way up to 30, 40, Again, it's actually a limitless number, but we do try to minimize it for safety reasons.
So if you want to stay energized while keeping up with the city that never sleeps, then perhaps a Segway tour is for you. Okay, Max, so this time you get to choose where we're eating today.
All right, great. So let's go to.
Wait, before you decide, I want a fancy place, nice restaurant, no hummus, no bars, something fancy.
Okay, you're lucky because there's something that I know about that's just like that. The Clara.
With the Sarona compound's high-quality restaurants and bars, Claro is definitely one that lives up to expectation. Tell us a little bit about the style of food that you guys have here at Claro.
The food is very Mediterranean, very, we think about our clients not only in terms of course, it has to be tasty and it has to be, wowy. So I always say to my guys, if they pick up the phone when you serve the dish and they want to take a picture, you win it. And so, you did the best job. But I believe also you have to think about your clients, how they feel after they had their dinner, if they want to still live, and not. I don't like buttery dishes. I don't like heavy dishes. I like people to share, to give them the Mediterranean experience, but very elegant.
Tell us a little bit about the drinks, the cocktails that they serve here.
The drinks are actually part of the concept. We have wonderful herb garden and we use the herbs for the drinks. A lot of drinks and the cocktails are based on the herbs and on the seasonal fruits, and we are trying to continue the story of the food to the cocktails. Quite succeeding, and I love the cocktails because they are unique. They are our cocktails.
Located in an 1,100 square meter building that has been established back in 1886, they have been preserving its unique and historical character ever since. What makes this restaurant unique or original compared to the other restaurants that is here in Tel Aviv?
First of all, it's a special house. It's like around 200 years old, and it has its own history. And it's a big restaurant. We have a venue place up to 200 people, and we have a private room, and we have a 220-seat restaurant, which is quite big, considering Tel Aviv. And my heart is in this restaurant, So I feel like I have this restaurant for all my life, and it's only 2.5 years old.
With an open kitchen in the center of the spacious restaurant, the guests can watch the chefs cook in an open space with sofas and chairs.
People who are coming here it's a combination. We have young people, we have older people, which, it's not fine dining, but it's still dining. And people who appreciate, freshness and quality of the ingredients. We use only local ingredients. I can think only about Parmesan, which we are importing from Italy, but the rest is really local.
So this is the only restaurant that I know that the chefs come to the front of the restaurant, picks out the fresh basil and uses it with their food and their cocktails.
Well, actually, gardening is my second hobby. So the garden is my creation, and I'm really proud of it. And all the restaurants have basil, but to pick up the fresh basil and to serve it after 1 hour, this is our signature.
The restaurant is divided into different areas providing different experiences, including a lounge and an outdoor space with a wide balcony. Are you thinking about expanding and going global?
Yes, I am. Actually, I hope if everything is going to be okay and the real estate will help us in New York, we're going to open in April our first chicken concept, which is very Mediterranean. It's going to be healthy. It's not going to be deep fried, which is very unique in terms of chicken in New York. And lots of vegetables, lots of vegetable spreads. And yes, we're going to open in New York. The name is Kukuriku. And I'm really, waiting for this.
So enjoy dining with tasty and innovative dishes that serve nothing but the freshest ingredients.
You know, Natalie, we're always doing these fun, outdoorsy kind of stories. How about some culture, a little history?
Well, like what, Max?
Well, how about the Biblical Museum of Natural History in Bet Shemesh?
Are you trying to get back at me for something?
No, but maybe just a little bit. Anyway, it's really cool. They got all the animals from the Bible, and you can do a whole tour and check them all out and pet the snake. How about that?
Okay, fine. Today we're at the Biblical Museum of Natural History, and Rabbi Slifkin is going to tell us a little bit about it.
Hi. So this museum, we opened it just over a year ago, and the idea is to present the animal world of the Bible in a combination of live and taxidermy exhibits so that people can get really up close and personal with them and learn about the wildlife of the Bible, which used to live in the land of Israel.
So all the animals here behind us, they're all related to the Bible somehow?
Yeah, they're all mentioned in the Bible, and they all used to live in the land of Israel. There were lions here till 700 years ago. There were cheetahs here till 70 years ago. These are all animals that lived in the land of Israel.
At the start of the tour, a short video is presented and is then followed by a personal guided tour where you can explore the animals of biblical natural history.
I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Now we're going to continue to the next part of the tour. We have a lot of really interesting things to see. One of the tribes were compared to a wolf. You guys know which? Binyamin, right? The tribe of Binyamin were compared to a wolf. You know why? Because Binyamin loved opportunities. Whenever there's an opportunity, he went ahead to take it, and this wolf and all wolves are opportunists. They eat everything.
One might not think is related to the Bible.
So here we have the skull and neck of a giraffe, which, according to some views, the giraffe is mentioned in the Bible. There's a list of kosher creatures, and one of them, the zamer, is identified by some as a giraffe. Now, even though giraffes only live in southern Africa, but in antiquity they were sent around the world as gifts for kings. So the pharaohs in Egypt, they kept giraffes in their royal menagerie. The children of Israel may well have even seen giraffes.
So I heard him say before that these giraffes are kosher animals.
That's right, they have split hooves and they chew the cud, so they're kosher. Nobody eats giraffes because it's kind of hard to get hold of them. But there's all kinds of creatures that are kosher. We are actually putting on a biblical feast soon of unusual animals eaten in the Bible that includes quails, partridge, venison, and for dessert we're serving caramel-dipped locusts.
With the fascination of the animal kingdom, Rabbi Slifkin has published numerous books on this topic relating to Judaism.
This is the latest book that we put out, the Torah Encyclopedia of the Animal Kingdom, and it goes through all the wild animals that are mentioned in Scripture: lions, leopards, cheetahs, hyenas, deer, giraffes. And with each of them, it presents all these sources from Scripture as well as from the Midrash and rabbinic writings to give us a biblical and a Jewish perspective on the animal kingdom in biblical thought.
You put your hand over here if you want to.
How much does this weigh?
Like 50 pounds.
So the animals, the taxidermied animals that we have in exhibit, we didn't hunt them or anything. These are animals that lived in zoos in Israel, had a good long life, and then when they died, we had them preserved for the museum. Our lion, for example, he lived for 19 years, which is very old. Lions in the wild usually live only about 10 or 12 years, so he was a very, very long-lived lion. And at the end of his lifespan, he found a new home with us.
These really cute fat cheeks, you guys see them? You can feel those cheeks.
So what do people usually enjoy most when they partake on these tours?
So for many people, the highlight will be what comes at the end, which is handling our big python. For other people, it's just getting a whole new perspective on the Bible. You normally think of the Bible, of Judaism, as pertaining to dry ritual. You don't think of the Bible as having anything to do with lions and crocodiles and hyenas and cheetahs and leopards. But that's also another aspect of the Bible and of Judaism.
From Amish to Jewish and Christians to Arabs, there are many sorts of people that partake on these tours, all while gaining a deeper appreciation to the land of Israel.
Max, I'm really craving some hummus.
Well, that's too bad, because I think we should go for some Indian food.
What? No. Everybody knows that after the beach, you're supposed to eat hummus. It's like a tradition.
All right, I got an idea. Why don't we go somewhere that has both?
Which place has Indian food and hummus?
Ramle Shuk. It's maybe only 15 minutes drive from here.
Okay, fine. I trust you, Max. Let's go. ultimate cultural experience, we came to Shuk Ramle, where we got to enjoy a variety of imported tasty delicacies at an unbeatable price.
One of the most authentic and oldest markets in the country, Ramle Shuk is always loud with shouting vendors and even Middle Eastern music. The lively Shuk has a reputation as one of the cheapest markets in Israel, with unusual spices and ethnic restaurants.
I come to here to eat. It's very authentic here. All the atmosphere, a lot of different people, as you see. Mix of the Israeli people. Good food, meat, hummus, sandwich Tunisian, I don't know how you say it in English, and a lot of good stuff. In Israel, we have, in every big city, we have a different market. Every market have unique things of him. Everything is cheap here because it's in the market, in the middle of the city. It's maybe more hot here, but it's very cheap here.
As Ramle has a thriving Indian Jewish community, we came across a small shop with authentic Indian treats.
Could you tell us a little bit about the shop that we're in right now? What's the name of this place?
We are in Mirch Masala, which is in the Ramle market, and it's a specialty Indian store. Sells all Indian products for Indian people because there's a huge Indian community in Israel and especially in Ramle. So
Yeah, I see a lot of products over here that we don't really see in Israel. Is it all imported from India?
most of them are imported from India. All the stuff which you see right here is imported from India, and there are legal importers who import it, which have got even the kashrut and the badats on it, so the local community can consume it.
Tell us a little bit about the Ramle Shuk.
The Ramle Shuk is one of the biggest markets in all of Israel. It's also the cheapest in all of Israel because stuff which is bound to be exported to different parts of the world and doesn't pass through the Ministry of Health exemptions, they are uploaded here. So you get stuff which is exported which couldn't pass through, and that's why sometimes you get the stuff a lot cheaper than anywhere else in it.
I see something interesting on the ground, this vegetable. What is it?
These are vegetables which were originally grown in India, are grown now in Israel. What she has laid out for you guys on the table is all the sweet things which India is good for, and they don't finish a meal without the sweets. This has come from India. This is original from Mumbai.
Whether you want homemade treats or products imported straight from India, this shop has it all.
You've got aloo paratha, you've got chapatis, you've got kulfi, which is the Indian version of ice cream, which has got 3 flavors here. You've got mango, you've got pistachio, and you've got cashew. Then you've got peda, you've got laddus, you've got jalebi. This is very famous. When I was a kid, I lived on it.
So you were born in India. How did you make your way to Israel?
Okay, I was born in India. I finished my BCom 1980 when I moved to Israel on my own. No parents, nothing.
What made you move to Israel?
I'm Jewish. Where else do you move to? Not to Canada or the United States. You move to Israel. It's simple. All Jewish people have to come here. India is my motherland. This is my father's land.
I've never been to India, but I can imagine that this is how it smells like with all these spices over here.
It smells stronger than that. It really smells stronger than that.
Thank you so much.
Very well.
With unique smells and a wide selection of produce and baked goods that's baked fresh daily, the Shuk experience is a must for locals and tourists.
That's all the cruising we have for you today. Join us again next Sunday. And remember, on iltv.tv, we cruise Israel 24/7. Bye-bye.
Bye.